and I'm a head designer based in London. Welcome to my studio. I'm very happy to welcome you. This is a second live from my new studio, and I'm so happy being here in my new studio. A lot of light, a lot of space, and obviously it's much more pleasant to work. So working space does matter. And obviously we get used to our spaces when we spend there for quite some time, and we can't even imagine how other spaces might feel like. But once you change the space, once you make that move, rearrange everything, it's obviously, of course, very stressful because you have to find the space, you have to move, pack everything, then unpack, think of new logistics. But once it's all done, you just can't imagine how actually I lived before without this beautiful new space. So I'm happy to welcome you, and today is going to be a very important subject of hat lining. So we're going to talk a little bit what lining, what fabric to use, and different types of hat linings. I'm going to show it on an example of my hats so that you have more understanding and more ideas, and hopefully inspiration for your hats and how you can implement headlining and whether you actually need headlining, because a lot of my students asking me, do I use the headlining? What hats do I need to use the lining? Is it necessary? And so on. So today I'm going to try to answer all these questions, and obviously because it's a live video, please do ask questions. I would be happy to reply, and just say hello. I would be lovely to hear from you. Do let me know where you're from, why do you like hat making, what struggling you are with, so that I can create more educational videos on the subjects that interest particularly you. So welcome again, more people are joining, and I'm really happy for that. And let me show a little bit of hats and some linings that I've been using, and some hats that I'm working on right now, because the previous video we've been learning how to make rolling edge. And today, this is actually why I started this live session today about linings, because I have to create a lining for this hat. So I thought, well, if I have to make a lining, maybe I should make a live video as well and explain a little bit about this subject. So if you watched the previous tutorial about how to create rolling edge, these decors, which look very beautiful, it's very simple to make, but they look very, very luxurious, very beautiful. And then you can steam it with them, you can shape the leaves or other decors that you make with rolling edge with steam, and it becomes very beautiful, floating, amorphic type of decoration, which I think looks absolutely luxurious and very beautiful. So during the previous video, I was showing how to make these decorations, and today I want to show you the result. The hat is almost ready. I attached all the decorations, I steamed them, I added this beautiful gold leaf decors. So all I have to do, the last step, and lining is always the last step, is to cover lining right here, and then goes petroleum ribbon right here on the edge, and elastic, and then the hat is ready to go to a client. So this is the hat. This is what I call half moon or half halo, because it doesn't really go around the hat, but I really love the shape. It looks very beautiful, and it suits everyone, absolutely everyone. It suits to any hairstyle, so it's one of the most effortless styles of the hats ever. So what I need to do is to create lining for this hat, and after few things that I was about to tell you, I'm going to show you how exactly I'm going to do that. And here is another hat, similar, not similar, exactly the same shape, same material, but different color. At the moment, it's on the pins. I stiffened it. And the next step would be just taking off the pins and, the wire inside, ironing the top so that layers bond together, and just to make the surface smooth, because it's a straw, there's a little knots of straw, which is natural thing for woven straws, and we would like to make the surface smooth. So pressing with the iron would be the next natural step before we remove the material of the hat block. So, and there's another hat that we were talking about during the last video. So those who's seen the video would recognize the hat. In the previous video, it was separated crown and the brim. It was detached, yes. So, and today, so both parts attached together, stitched underneath. Inside, I have a very amazing tutorial about how to make those hats, how to make straw hats, using Sinamay straw, how to block them, how to wire them, how to attach crown and the brim together, how to make them absolutely perfect. I have this tutorial. It's part of my membership. So if you're still not a member, please sign up. All you have to do is follow the link, which is in the description below, choose member section, and join the membership so you can enjoy all the tutorials that already there, how to make straw hats, how to make fascinators, how to block felt pillbox hats, and many other videos as well. So just follow the link below and join the membership level. And then another hat that I wanted to show you that is going to my client is this one. It's part of the Magnolia collections with flowers that I create without flower tools, just hand shaping fabric. And as a result, they become more unique. Each petal is unique, and it's sort of like unorganized but very beautiful organic combination of different movements which create dynamic, which I think really beautiful. And this is a really lovely technique that you don't even need the tools for that, but just using your hands and steam and attaching the flowers together. So this is the hat, the petersham ribbon inside, the elastic that obviously you can adjust, because as I showed in many of my previous videos, you can move the elastic, which is quite cool, and that will help for my client to adjust how tight she would like the elastic to be. So this is the hat that is ready to ship in a little box. And all right, so those are the updates of the new hats, of the last new hats that are in my studio, and they have to be shipped to the clients for the Royal Ascot event that happens in almost 3 weeks. So it's not much time, and the more orders coming, so it's quite hectic. And okay, so back to the linings. And in the meantime, I'm welcoming everyone who's joining right now. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about lining, just introduction into lining, what types of fabrics, why we need lining, how does it look underneath the hat, and so on. So for those who are watching, please say hello. Do like the video if it's interesting and if it's inspirational. It does help to this channel a lot. And do say hello and do ask any questions. While it's a live video, I would be happy to answer all of your questions, or we can have a discussion. That would be lovely as well. All right, so linings. Linings are important. Mostly when you have a lot of decorations on top and you have a lot of different stitches and they are visible underneath. It means that you can't really hide them because there's a lot of attachments in place. So for that, lining is a great idea to cover everything that is happening inside the hat. And also it does give this very luxurious finish to the hat. Sometimes you don't need the lining, but it does look really beautiful, like this hat, for example. Or because I have a lot of decorations with all different types of colors, so I used a lot of stitching underneath. And if I didn't put a lining, that would be like a lot of mess. And obviously I don't want my clients to see that. So I would put the lining inside so that it looks more luxurious. And yes, it's one of my old hats. So like that. So obviously you can't really feel the lining. It does not bring any function as a comfort, for example, but it does bring but it does help to hide all the imperfections that are on the hat base inside due to a lot of stitching, and so on. And this is another hat, and one of my first hats that I made many years ago. So I'm even going to show you some mistakes that I made and I learned, and this is why I'm keeping this hat, so that I can remember and also I can share with you. So this was a hat where I did a lot of different stitches and attached all these decorations of different colors. And of course, lining is one of the last things that you apply to the hat, because after you apply the lining, you can't really do any stitches to the hat base. So if you want to stitch something, you have to take the lining off and do the stitches that are required. But because I already applied the lining and applied the bias strips, so basically really very solid, so I decided to, cheat a little bit and stitch through the lining, which was a massive mistake. So this is silk, and silk is a very, very fine material, even if it's a slightly thicker silk than the others, but still you can see all the imperfections. And just let me know if you can see all the stitches, like one knot here, one knot there. So that's wrong. Never do that. So you have to think in advance what stitches you have to do before you stitch the lining. So always finalize your hat, put it on your head, make sure that everything is perfect, and only after that stitch the lining, because you really don't want your client to work with a hat like that, and it does not look good. So it's a good example of what mistakes you can make with the lining. So never do that. Always stitch elastic the last thing. So what's next? Okay, this hat, teardrop shape, very beautiful. And again, there was a lot of stitches because the stitches were coming from one side to another to secure this part. Even though that I've been stitching a little bit here, a little bit there, the stitches were quite wide, so I had to place the lining. And also it looks really beautiful. It's the same color as the hat and the Petersham ribbon, so everything is color matching, which is I think it's really beautiful. And yeah, this is the way it's stitched from the inside, obviously because it's three-dimensional shape. You would have to fold the lining a little bit just to make it going into shape. And the next hat I wanted to show you is this one. This is also one of my favorite hats. It's quite big and perfect for weddings, perfect for royal ascot, horse races, for very special occasions. This is a very statement hat, that's for sure. Not for casual wear. And obviously the decoration is quite big, so I had to do a lot of stitches, of course. And yes, it would look much nicer when you have a little lining right there inside. I think you would agree that it looks much more luxurious. So these are a few examples. Oh, and I can show you this one as well. This is Amelie Bota. This one goes to a client for Royal Ascot. Very beautiful hat. And obviously I also stitched the lining. It's a very different type of lining rather than these hats. So it's made of two parts, the crown and the brim, and you stitch sew everything together with a sewing machine, and then you attach it all inside. So this is how it's stitched. Well, the label has to be on top, but yeah, right that. So it has to be very fitted inside, very comfortable and beautiful. And because the fabric that I'm using inside is buckram, so obviously I needed to cover the hat with the lining. So it's not just because it's luxurious and looks nice, but it's also practical because I needed to cover the fabric underneath. The one that I used for creating the hat, for applying the fabric on top of the base material. So sometimes linings, they are needed for decoration only so that it looks beautiful and luxurious, but sometimes linings are important because they are really hiding stitches, they're hiding the fabric, which is part of the construction of the hat. So then you would like to put the lining as a necessity. Yes, let me put it back like that. And some examples of the fabrics that I'm using. So I don't always color match exactly, but if I can find matching colors, obviously that will look beautiful. But sometimes, like for example, for this fabric, this is ivory color. So I would use this fabric. It's not the same, but for inside, for the lining, it will look absolutely perfect. There's also black fabric, and I also have this beautiful pink, hot pink, which is beautiful for all these colors, and it goes perfectly inside. So, you know, shades could be different, but the concept is the same. And this is champagne color, which is very beautiful. It's not white, it's not ivory, but for straws, like natural color straws or similar color straws, this material will look absolutely lovely. And what type of fabric? I would suggest use quite not too thick, but also not too thin, so that the fabric has its structure. Because otherwise, if the fabric is too thin, what's going to happen? It will simply fall down because it does not hold itself. It does not have that strength to keep the shape. And because the linings are not stiffened and they're not attached to the crown, they have to be quite strong. Obviously, I wouldn't suggest to use a very thick material because that might be quite uncomfortable to wear, but something in between thin and thick, so medium strength of the fabric. There are also materials, well, this is, I love to use satin, but sometimes, well, satin is quite expensive. So this is a synthetic fabric, but very much looks like satin. So it's quite silky on one side and it's quite matte on the other side. So obviously I will be using the silky side to be visible, and this will be, the matte color will be inside. There are also these fabrics, synthetic fabrics, which are used for linings, for fashion, for clothes lining. They do look quite thick, they're too shiny, and they're not very thin and not very thick, so you can use those. However, again, if you have a little bit more budget for investing in slightly more expensive fabrics, that will look much nicer for your hats. But as well, you have to think about the budget, what kind of budget you are thinking you're selling your hats. So if your hats are not too expensive, obviously you would use fabrics that are more affordable. If your hats are more expensive, you would like to invest in more luxurious fabrics so that everything, including the inside of the hat, looks absolutely beautiful. So this is about the fabrics. And okay. And for this hat, I think I used, it's a different fabric. I forgot what it's called. But it's not silky, but I love it's quite a nice structure. It's soft, but still holds the shape, and it just looks really beautiful together with the blue. So I decided to go for this one. So when you're choosing a fabric, consider how do you like the structure itself, how do you like the feel of the fabric, whether it's too thick or thin. You might experiment with the fabrics and see whether they work as a lining for you. Silks are also amazing fabrics. So whatever fabrics you have at home, try starting with those. And if you go fabric shopping, you can just, try a little bit of different options and see what might work best for your hats. But obviously color matching the linings with the main color of your hat would be always beneficial. So what as well is important is I do have patterns, half moon lining. So I have a lot of different patterns, and I have this board with different patterns that I created for the lining, for the hats, for everything. So if I need to make a particular hat, I already have the lining, so I don't have to waste time in creating a shape. The lining has to be bigger than the hat itself because you also fold inside the fabric. So consider adding like 1.5 centimeters for folding. So I'm gonna be using this lining for my hats, and I'm gonna apply it on the bias of the fabric. Obviously, I already steamed the fabric right here because it has to be smooth and nice. And I'm gonna apply it here, secure with the pins. Okay. And in the meantime, I would like to say hello to everyone who's joining, and hello, Frustina. Hello from Liberia. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for joining. I do hope that this tutorial is useful and educational. Please do ask any questions and say hi. Do put the thumbs up if you like the video. It really helps for this channel a lot. If you subscribe, if you still have not subscribed to my channel, there's a lot of educational videos for hat making, for tips like for linings today. How to make Sinamay flowers, how to make different decorations, tips about how to use different fabrics and so on. So there's a lot of information that might be useful and hopefully inspirational for you. So I would just cut the fabric following the line carefully. You can also trace it with a chalk and then take the lining, the pattern away, and then cut the fabric following the line that you traced with the chalk. I'm quite impatient, so I'm just going right into cutting the fabric. I might trim a little bit more if needed. So this pattern is on purpose. I made it slightly bigger than the hat itself so that I have enough material to work with. So this is the pattern of the fabric, and what I'm gonna do, I'm placing the shiny side, obviously, it's going to be on this side, visible side, and I'm placing the material right in the middle there. And then I'm folding the fabric inside. Just like right here, slightly lower, not on the edge, but just a little bit lower, because we also need space for the we need space for Petersham ribbon that we need to attach. And because we need to make a 2D fabric into 3D, I would fold, create a little fold and secure with a pin, and I will move along the edge of the hat. Okay, and I would secure with the pins. I can always redesign the lining, and I can always move it together until it's stitched. There's nothing settled, so I can always change. So don't worry if something doesn't work out, you can always adjust the fabric. And then I'm just gonna make a little fold as well right here. Just gonna make small folds because it will look nicer later. Okay. And once I'm finished, I'm gonna show you how it looks in the next video. But I just want to show you the idea of how to secure the the lining of the hats. Again, I'm placing a little fold so that material goes around the hat right there. Always make sure that the fabric goes down the hat to the surface. And whatever you do, always be careful with the decorations, because you can be so easily distracted that you can smash the decorations by focusing too much on the lining on this side. And so on. Sometimes you don't really need to apply linings. I mean, it's not always a necessary thing to do, but if you want to add this beautiful luxurious touch of the lining, go for it. And if you want to leave the hat so that sometimes it's better than you can see the straw, all the stitches, because it shows that this hat is handmade, so you can just leave it as it is. But sometimes, like here, I have a lot of different stitches and I really want to hide them, so these do not look nice at all. So obviously I will have to apply lining, and I need a little bit more space right here. Okay. It's quite hard to do it while doing the video because I can't really see exactly what I'm doing, but I just want to give you the idea. So obviously I'm going to redo it later, placing the hat comfortably so I can see it from different angles. But the idea that you place your fabric, first of all, that it's not visible, not on the edge, allows some space for the petition ribbon later. And always make sure that the fabric is, touches the bottom of the hat, so that when you wear the hat, your hat does not really feel the lining, the tension of the lining. Okay. Yeah, I really need to redo it later, but yeah. So here it is, roughly, but obviously take your time and do it more neatly and more beautifully. And then after stitching all this with the running stitch, I will place the petition ribbon. I don't have it here, but yeah, this is a good example of petition ribbon. So you're just placing it all the way around, also not on the edge, because you don't want to put the hat on and see the petition ribbon right here. So it has to be hidden like at least a few millimeters inside the hat. So that's why you place the lining right here, like 5 millimeters down, and then the petition ribbon goes on top, so it allows about 3 millimeters away from the edge. So when you put the hat on, you don't really see anything inside. So this is the tip that I wanted to share, and I hope it was useful. Please do ask any questions. We'll still have a few minutes left before the end of the video. And well, hello, Poppy from USA. Hello, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the video and the tutorial. In the meantime, what can I tell in the meantime? So, many of you asked where to get the materials for these hats, for making these hats, basically the Sinamay straw hats. Sinamay straw, it's a fabric that is specifically made for millinery, and unfortunately you cannot buy in regular fabric shop because this is not a fabric material dedicated for for fashion. So there are only specific millinery shops where you buy this material, and it's sold in many different colors. A lot of different shades you can choose from. There are two different types. One is a Sinamay straw, which is one of the most popular ones, and there's another one that I've been talking about last time. This particular hat is made of Pinnock Pock. This is also Sinamay straw. It's made of the same material, banana leaf, so it's very natural, amazing material. And the only difference is that Pinnock Pork it's slightly more expensive because the fiber is a bit thinner, it's more tighter weave, and it looks not as transparent as Sinamay straw. So if you can see, this is Pinnock Pork, and let me show the example, and this is Sinamay straw. So you see Sinamay straw, even though it's 2 layers, but it's quite transparent. And even if I add a third layer, you will still see a little bit through. So depending how exactly you want the hat to look, you will choose the material appropriately. So Sinamay straw is this one. That's what I usually use for all the workshops, all the decorations, and sometimes I just want to add a tight weave fabric on my hats. So this would be Pinnock Pork. The material you can buy is from my supplier, the Trimmings Company. They're based in the UK, but they ship worldwide. The link is in the description of the video, and you can also get 10% discount, which is quite amazing. Just use code Elena at the checkout. All the details are in the description, and you can get 10% on all the materials and everything that you need for making your hats. Wire, which is quite important material and tool, Sinamay straw, Pinnock Pork, stiffener, felts, veils or nettings, or crinolines, which is also amazing fabric. And I do have some tutorials and webinars about this material. It's absolutely stunning. So all your millinery needs are, you can find a Trimmings Company a supplier shop. Just go and check it in the description. All the details are right there. So yes, that's what I wanted to say, because many people ask me, and I'm replying to every message, sending the details. But yes, the Trimming Company, millinery tools and materials are all there. But if you have any particular question about some particular material, do not hesitate to ask me, and I would be happy to help. And in the meantime, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope it was educational and it was useful. And please do subscribe to this channel. It helps this channel a lot. You have no idea. And also don't forget to hit the notification button so that you know when is the next tutorial. And I do go live quite often so that you can be part of the live session and you can ask the questions, which is always great. And please do choose to subscribe to the channel or become contributor. That helps for creating a lot of free content, content that you would like to learn, or become a member and get access to a lot of tutorials about millinery, quite intense, quite detailed tutorials that are also part of my video courses that I usually sold online on my website. But if you subscribe, you get access to all of them at once, so you can just enjoy and learn how to make hats together with me. In the meantime, thank you so much. I'm wishing you a lovely day, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much, and bye.